Hi, my name's Jonathan Hicks. We're back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by
Dave, Steve, Sam.
And we've just finished playing Caverna. Now, this is an Uwe Rosenberg game, so it's very much a Euro. Worker placement in this one. So you have this board in front of you. The idea is you're a bunch of dwarves, and there's two main avenues you're trying to take. You're trying to cut down the forest. When the game first starts, this board is full of forest, and you can either plough the fields to sow vegetables and corn, or you can kind of fence in areas to hold various types of animals. But the other half of your board is the mountain, if you like, and as dwarves you're mining in the mountain, and then you can build different types of mine, like ore mines and ruby mines, or you can build different kinds of buildings. So dwellings will let you get more dwarves. These are workers, so getting more workers is pretty important in the game. And these yellow buildings are helpful for end game scoring. So you can see this one is going to get you points for how many dwarves you have at the end of the game. So that's kind of what you're aiming for. But how you do things is you take each, in turn, you take one of your workers and you stick it on this massive action board. Let me just stand out slightly so you can see this here. There's a ton of these action spaces. At the start, the ones on the right aren't visible, so more and more come out throughout the game. You can't go where someone else has been, but basically you go to various points to get resources like stone or wood or rubies. Are kind of like wild, so they're very useful. This one gets you a little bit of everything. You can get vegetables or grain from this space here, and then these kind of spaces are where you can cover the forests with ploughed fields or meadows for holding your animals. You can plant your vegetables. There's a nice mechanic in this where you can go adventuring. So if you go to the blacksmith and hand in some ore, you can weaponize one of your dwarves. So you take one of these tokens here. So if you were to hand in 3 ore, you can make your dwarf a level 3 dwarf. And then he can go on off an expedition. These spaces let you go on an expedition. And you kind of raid the neighbouring farmlands and bring back stuff. So a level 3 dwarf could bring back maybe a donkey, some grain and some wood, and you get to pick rewards from this little table here. So those are the various things you can do. I'm not going to go through all of them by any means. An important strategy though, as I did mention, is building these buildings. There is a ton of buildings as well that you can pick from. So the orange ones are sort of for living in, they help you get more workers. The green ones give you sort of special abilities that work throughout the game. So for example, this one will give you a sort of stone income on each round. This one, every time you get a dog, he comes with some wood for some reason. And the yellow ones, as I mentioned, is end game scoring. So you want to pick up quite a few of those if you can towards the end of the game. All right, so what do we think?
I thought it was really good. I'm a big fan of Agricola, so yeah, for me this was an awesome game. Probably helped that I won, but I thought it was interesting because you weren't sure if a harvest was going to come up, so that meant that you had to be very flexible with your tactics. But the fact that all the buildings will be the same every single game meant that you can develop strategies for playing. That you can play the same strategy every time. But again, it's a game where doing what's in the minority is good, and I think that's a good style of game. So. Really enjoyed it. I'd say 9 out of 10.
Okay, wow. Steve?
Yeah, you compare it to Agricola when you play it, and it is Agricola's friendlier cousin, effectively. You can't do everything in this, but you don't get punished as hard for not doing certain things as you do in Agricola. You have to do everything in Agricola, otherwise you lose points. It's much harder to feed people. In this, you've effectively got this exchange rate. Rubies can be traded in for everything. You can trade everything in for food at any point without having to get something to cook it in or anything like that. It's much lighter. I think there are more different strategies in this game. I like the fact that you have these different buildings. You can everyone was peering over the buildings at the start of the game to kind of think about, well, I'm doing quite well at that. That's the building I'm going to try and buy, and that worked out quite well. It plays up to 7 as well, so if that's the sort of thing you like, probably wouldn't suggest it, but it does play a lot of people. I think if you don't like doing badly at a game, this is the game for you if you had to pick between this and Agricola. As even if you don't do so well score-wise in this game, you still accomplish quite a lot in your building.
Rating out of 10?
Probably go 7 out of 10. It's a bit long for me, although it does feel like you're always doing something at any point, even when it's not your go. You're thinking about what's going on. So it's not slow, it's just long.
Okay. Sam?
Well, I really like this one. It's the third time I've played it. Today I played like one of the donkeys. I think you've got a lot of. It's a good game because it gives you've got hard choices. You've got I like the worker placement elements. Today I played it really, really badly, but I like it. I've been jonesing for a bit of worker placement. 8 out of 10.
All right, great. Yeah, I think it's a very solid game. As they've said, really, it's very similar to Agricola, and if you like that, you're going to like this. It's lighter, and I prefer that. I do actually prefer this to Agricola. It has a more of a family weight feel to it. I love all the options, and there's so many good options to pick from. So if someone takes the one you want, it's like, oh, well, I could always go here. That's pretty good as well. So you don't kind of feel bad when they take your spots, but it still does force you down certain roads with different strategies. With all the buildings as well means there's lots of different ways of things you could focus on. So you can go for food, or you can go for animals, you can go for mines, and that variation in strategy does make the game very interesting. So personally, I think I'll be on 8 out of 10. I do really enjoy this one. All right, thanks very much for watching. That was Caverna.